Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second to last edition of GBC Live for February. We've been a pretty strong streak here. It's me, Zach, and we've got Joe Coddington from Hincapie Gran Fondo waiting for us. Before bringing him in, a few notes. We're doing a rare Wednesday premiere tomorrow of our Rock Cobbler video. It's our longest rock cobbler one so far. It might be my favorite so far. You'll probably have to watch to find out. As of this week, I know I will see a lot of you at Huffmaster on Saturday, north of Sacramento. And then we've got our Send It Sacramento on Sunday, which we will be giving out a entry to the Sea Otter gravel race, which we are also filming a preview video for Sea Otter on Friday. So you'll be seeing that very soon, hopefully next week if I can really crank it out, probably early March, but a lot of things going on. But yeah, since March will be around, so will Hincapie Gran Fondo. So let's get to it and bring on Joe. So good evening, Joe.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We haven't had rain here for a long time. I'm sure that's probably a relatively long time. Seems to be like we've got nice gravel conditions. So that's always the first thing on my mind.
Oh, I'm very grateful for the fact that it's not raining. Considering the first year we tried to pull this ride off, we had that atmospheric sea and all the roads got destroyed. So I'm very grateful that it hasn't rained in California right now. The courses are looking great. Conditions are going to be awesome.
I forgot about that. That really affected a lot of events. We had a mountain of rainfall here. But what happened with the road conditions? Were they able to, did you have to change course, or what happened for next year?
Oh, we ended up having to postpone the whole thing for a year. We felt it was the right thing for the community. We have one of the things that we try to do at Gran Fondo Hincapie is we go for world-class unique. So we try to ride places that you can't ride normally. So some of the roads that we had access to aren't real roads. They're specific to the county. And so those roads were just gone. The flood damage was so bad. There was like a 200 gap. If we wanted to make it a gravel bike triathlon where you had a swim section in the middle of it, we could have made it work. But the best thing to do for the community was postpone for a year. We did some help with them getting things reconstructed, and we've come back for 2 amazing years, and here we are at our third, looking really forward to it.
Wow. Well, I know that it's the Hincapie is more planned on the East Coast, but this is the first event here. Well, definitely in California. But how has this all evolved into the number of events, and then how winding up in Merced?
Well, it started a long time ago as a celebration of George's retirement with a ride in Greenville. And then we added a ride in Chattanooga. Some friends said, hey, we should have a ride in Chattanooga. So we saw an opportunity when another ride went away. So we stepped into that gap to serve that community. And what we found is we're really good at creating an experience beyond the ride that makes it unique. Like, you can go to a bike race and race your bike. You can go and do all these things, but it's never really like a complete package where everything about it is a great time. And that's one of the things that we do the best. At least we like to pride ourselves in doing a really good job at it. And so it's kind of evolved from there. And we wanted to try and grow to 10 events. And we realized that, there's a lot of gravel out there, and a lot of gravel's kind of racy oriented. And we wanted to create a different experience where you can have that race experience, but maybe the people that don't want to race a gravel bike and just want to enjoy that ride and be a part of it. So we started looking around, and Doug Fletch, that used to run the Merco race and the rich cycling history of Merced, it just made sense when we went out there, and we found this one road called La Paloma Road that is product of the county. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is our place we've been looking for a gravel ride for a while, and just the rich heritage and that road. I was like, we're done. This is it. We're going to make this work.
Wow. Well, this the thing about the Central Valley is, there's certain times of the year that are better, but you're also just on the foothills, and it's just kind of like a unique blend of types of riding and environments out there.
Yeah, well, it gave us the opportunity, being the gateway to the Yosemite, it gave us the opportunity to find some roads that are very rural. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere and really challenging with some of the climbs. I mean, some of the crazy stuff, the history in Hornitos, the original Ghirardelli chocolate factory. Those are the kinds of things that get us really excited, because it's more than just riding down a road in some town. It's going to these places where pieces of history have happened, and there's something about that community and people get excited.
Well, I know I've gotten a lot of messages from people that have been to the event or wanted to volunteer and was very enthusiastic. And I think that, that's just an added layer, is that the people from the area are pretty excited, not just to have a gravel event, but also to showcase the community.
Oh, for sure. Community is so important. We work with, Mayor Matt and Merced has been a key helper in helping us get people involved. We've got a nonprofit that we're working with there called Restore Merced, which is a great organization that helps people in transition of life to learn leadership skills and quality work experiences, and really help them get on their feet and a second chance at life. And they're actually going to be out there helping man gates and the ranch lands that we're going through. And it's just really amazing to see how the community comes out to support the event, and how we can also support the community. That's one of the things that we like to do.
Oh, fantastic. I regret that I haven't really spent much time in Merced. I did buy a WeHo trailer for my daughter there off of Craigslist, and I uh, I know that there's the latest University of California school that's in the area, and just kind of like when I was like going through the Google Maps, and I think this is something that people who are just LA and San Francisco based and may not get it just driving through, is when you get off the freeway, there's a lot more history and in depth to these communities there than what you see driving at 70 miles per hour.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's probably 10 towns we go through that you would never know existed. As you leave Merced and you head out toward Waltz Mountain and Ted Dallas's ranch and through all of his land, and then you head out toward Cotton Creek and that other side, there's the gold history. A famous, I can't remember his last name right now, but his first name was Juan. A famous bandit was famous for hiding out in Hornitos, and you can see the original buildings with bullet holes in the wall. And also that's the site of the original Ghirardelli chocolate factory. So that's really cool to see, history from the 1800s, and you're riding through it, watching it come alive while getting a gravel experience. It's just really cool. You've got the ranch land, the open ranch land, all of that. It's just unique in a way that you don't realize. Here you are, 2 hours from San Francisco, a couple hours from LA, and next thing you know, you feel like you just went back in time.
Yeah, and I think just I'm just going over pulling up the webpage here, but just the front view and some of the images you guys have on here really shares. I think like a lot of people just capture and they think of Merced as being flat, or at least the area nearby, but there is some climbing on this, and I know that you have three distances, two that are mainly gravel, one that's family, but it seems like the course itself, doesn't have just coming off the rock cobbler, which just had like 20-degree climbs. It looks like this is just a steady, more tempo type of ride, especially with the surfaces.
Well, there is some climbing on it, especially when you get on there's more climbing on the Grand than the Medio, partially because distance. I think the Medio is going to end up being, well, normally we do like 80, 50 for the Grand Medio, but these are a little bit longer, just because you can't give up a cool gravel road, even if it has to add 5 miles, but there's some definitely when you do the upper lollipop of the Grand that you're not in flatland. Fortunately, you get to do the biggest climb is paved, so that's a little bit of a reprieve for you. But then you get to do this awesome rural road through Cotton Creek, and it's just almost untouched. Like nobody goes through there. That's why we have to use Restore Merced because we have somebody standing at every gate. One of the biggest stewards that we want to make sure we take care of are all the ranchers out there. It's very important to us that that's where they make their livelihood, and we're kind of going through their front yard and where their cattle live. So we got the gates manned, making sure that the cows are safe, as well as the riders. That's really important to us. But it's really cool how you can find the climbs. One of the things that makes us excited is going into a community where people and finding roads that even the locals don't know exist, which we got done here. When you come down to Cotton Creek, you think you're going to be going into somebody's driveway, and it's one of the most awesome roads that you can only ride this day. It's not open normally. Same thing with La Paloma. You can't ride this any other day. There's a big gate, and you've got access to both these amazing roads through this ride and no other way.
Well, let's bring up our little 3D viewer here, and you can walk us through the course. And this starts just in the center part of Merced.
Yeah, it starts right downtown, right near the El Cap Hotel and Mainzier and Tioga Sequoia, which is where all the partying is going to be, and our expo. And then you're just going to roll on out to the courthouse as you scroll up the screen there. And we have full police support to get you through town. You will be going the wrong way, but you have a lane that's coned off as you go up the main street as you head toward Bear Creek. So that'll all be coned off for you. Even though when you make the map on Ride with GPS, it forces you to be in the right lane. You're actually going to be in the left. And then we're going to make that turn up Bear Creek and head out toward Ted Dallas's ranch. And that's going to be, about right there at that little junction. That's where the family ride turns around and comes back. But the Grand and the Media will make a left there where the family ride turns right. And we head on out, and the road starts to get a little bit rougher the further out you get. And then when we get to about mile 19 where the first rest stop is, you make the turn, and that's where the gravel starts out there at South Walls Road. And you get a lot of gravel, some really cool streamland, and you actually get to go through a ranch that had been there before the road was made, and the road literally goes between the barn and his house. So that's Ted's ranch. Really cool. You got a creek crossing there, but what's the point of doing something if you can't get wet? So and then you roll on out, and you're going to take that on through, see some really cool. You're going to feel like you're in Italy as you get on out South Waltz Road into towards Schultz Mountain. You're going to feel like you're in Italy as you start looking over to the left at some of the houses look like Tuscan wineries more than what you would typically see. It's all gravel through there, and then you're going to pop out at Hornitos Road, which you get on up, and that's where everybody's going to go straight across, and you're almost to rest stop number 2, where the upper lollipop has, right where you're looking at right there on the screen. And the Media is going to go left on number 9, and then the Grand's going to go out and do that Cotton Creek lollipop when you get some big climbs in. We've got a couple time segments. All the time segments are before or after the lollipop. You don't have any on the lollipop. We had one there last year, but the cows didn't like it. So we wanted to be those we put up these cylinders, and it was very stressful for the cows, and we want to be respectful of the ranchers. So we moved that segment back inside the main loop where the cows aren't in the open ranch land. So just a safety thing for everybody. We don't want riders. These cows seem like they're tame, but they're not. They are ranch cows. They're walking around all day with nobody around. So you do need to be careful of safety. So that's one of the things that we did to make it safer, and to work with our local ranchers out there. So you go around that lollipop. The right side of that lollipop, as we look on the screen, is a little bit more paved. But then as you get over that main climb and start to head down, it starts going back to gravel. And then that whole way out, after you make the loop at the top, you're going to be able to see the lake, and you're going to be able to come across the view. The views in there are just awesome as you look through it, and you're going to see all kinds of cool scenery, all kinds of cool nature as you come up Cotton Creek, and that is all gravel. That is the most challenging descent that we have. As you're looking over to your left at Lake McClure, you're going to come down this one gravel descent. It is a bit of a challenge, ride well within yourself, but it's totally worth it. Then you're going to climb back out of Cotton Creek and then come back in and start looping back toward number 9, where you'll hit your third rest stop, which is the same as the second one. Kevin's Bikes in Merced is going to be manning that for us. So really cool that local shop has come out to support. And then you start heading into Hornitos, and then you get to your last section of gravel, which is La Paloma Road. You're going to come down that, and then we got special permission to use a section of road that heads back toward UC Merced instead of doing G Street this year. So we've added more gravel back in to the ride as you come back into town. So that's going to be pretty cool. You're going to come out at the college going across the dam there, which is not something that's normally done. We got some special permissions for that, which took a lot. Doug Fletch at Fletch and Busby Insurance he's the guy that ran Merco for all the years, been really helpful in helping us facilitate talking to the right people to get people excited about this event. And then you'll come back in off Bear Creek and back into town. And then that's where our family expo is. You've got free beverages there and free food. And, it's for you and your family as a participant. And we want you to come and have a great time at the event there, which is basically on N Street between Mainzer and Tioga Sequoia Brewing. And I believe Tioga Sequoia is going to be doing a little bit of a party after hours unofficially. It's not our event, but they're going to have some stuff that people can hang out a little bit longer and enjoy.
Well, you had me at Tioga Sequoia. I was saying that and a different brewery were my two tastiest in California, and the other one just closed down. So I think what they do is unfortunately you can't get them. I can't find them in LA, but in the Central Valley, I think it's a great brewery. I'm a big fan of what they do.
Yeah, they make some great stuff, and I'll tell you, Mainzer, which is where our expo, you get to walk in. They're gonna have some music in there for us, and they've got almost every beer in the world on tap. I hear. I tried to drink them all, but I wasn't very successful. So, but it's great. It's part like El Cap Hotel being our official partner as a place to stay, and everything that whole street in Main Street where you got Rainbird, the restaurant, like just a lot of really cool places to go.
Now, for people that are just coming in town just for the event, is there like a shakeout ride the day before or other festivities around there? Or?
Well, George is going to be around. There's not something that's official on the day before. And you can't ride Cotton Creek and you can't ride La Paloma. But you could do like South Waltz Road, out to there. That area is a great little section to ride. You could ride the Campus Parkway. You're going to be on a little bit of a bike path there. So that might be a great pre-ride to check out just to make sure you know how it connects. And that's over at Campus and University over by UC Merced. But there's not an official shakeout ride as of yet. But that being said, there usually happens to have one form, and we put something out on social media and let people know. But if somebody in the community wants to get one going, we're all about supporting the community, and we can help you get in touch with your other rider friends and make sure that you guys get to have a great time.
People out there who are watching, if you want to ask questions, please throw them in our comments, or if you're on the other feeds, please hop onto YouTube and put them in the side. Well, for people coming in and maybe making a weekend of it, what are some of the local suggestions of the area for people coming into town?
Well, I have to recommend El Cap as the place to stay. It's a very unique boutique hotel. There are other hotels there. that you can get that are convenient and close by. You have Casino Merced if you like to gamble and play cards. Pretty good burger. It's a pretty good burger. I love the menu there. You have a great steakhouse on the corner. There's some really good Mexican there, as always. It's hard to every town in California says there's good Mexican, but there's some great stuff right there around El Cap that like a block away on the left. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. I can see it right now, but great Mexican. Also, go to Yosemite. Our national parks and the beauty that just exists because it exists is really, really cool. Just the rich gold heritage out there. There's a lot to see just by going out in the mountains and like kind of, take off your shoes, walk barefoot and be at peace. It's a really cool place just to look around and see. California is one of the most amazing states because it's got everything. And most people, you live in LA, you're at the beach. I'm at Santa Cruz, I go surf all day, but I've never seen the mountains. Like, take this opportunity to go see the mountains. It's really cool.
Yeah, especially this time of the year. It's kind of like Google Earth didn't do it justice whenever they did the aerials, because I saw it's like all brown and whatever time of year they took it. But right now, like, we have gotten some rainfall, and this is about like peak season for everything to turn green.
Oh yeah, it was so beautiful last year, just with the green. You would literally look into these roads, you would think nobody's gone down them in 100 years. Like, it just, that Wild West movie scene, like Hollywood would be jealous to shoot their Wild West scenes on these roads, and you guys get to ride them. Like, and it sucks for me because I don't get to ride them. I get to sit on radios and talk to people. I'm in a truck going, yeah. All right, checkpoint 2, rally point 3. All right, we're going to land the helicopter here in LZ4. That's what I get to do all day. But it keeps you guys safe. So, that's important to me too.
One of the questions I always get about events are, what tire size should I wear, or any equipment suggestions for this particular route? It looks like that you have 3 pit stops on the long, or 4, right?
Technically, it's 3 locations, 4 stops.
Yeah.
So one spot, like the Kevin's bike stop, gets hit twice. So you're going to hit it, and then as you complete the lollipop, you'll come back to it. And then the Medio, last year only had 2. We're going to make the Medio go straight this year, so they get a little bit more gravel in, mainly because we don't have to do that G Street section anymore, which made the course a little long. So now we're able to cut into town on some gravel. So now it's easy for us to get the Medio to that number 2 rest stop as well. So they're going to have 3 rest stops. So no problem there. And the other one's going to be right at the turn on La Paloma Road, similar to where it was last year, but at the turn, so you can't miss it. You're going to have to ride through the rest stop if you're that determined to miss that turn. One thing that we do as a gravel ride that's pretty unique, we do have a lot of signage up. I hang them all up myself. Takes me about 3 days. So do go out there and appreciate the signs. Some of them get stolen and things like that. But, Cotton Creek won't have any signs because the cows don't like it. But it is pretty much open ranch land. So we want to make sure that we don't do anything that makes the cows curious to the road. But there's signage and support that way that's different. You're not just dependent upon your GPS like some other gravel rides, which is fine. It's great. It's the spirit of gravel, but we like to give it that extra little touch for some signage so you don't get lost. So that's pretty cool. And, you get your 4 rest stops for the Grand. They're about every 20 miles or so. So you get plenty of time to stop and refill. And there's products from the feed. One of the greatest things that we have that people don't know about is F2C Nutrition. Is an amazing product that really gives you the extra mile. Greg Cowan over there, they're from Canada, and it's just an amazing product. Every time I'm on a ride and I use it, I'm just like, where was this when I was riding full time? It would have changed a lot of stuff for me. It's really, really stable. It doesn't upset your stomach, and it provides consistent energy throughout, helping everything in your body stay even and smooth, and it's all natural products. So that's always important too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know I've always found myself one of the hardest things is, what I can digest, and I definitely found that um, uh, the more natural products seem to work better with me. Oh, here we got someone who has a comment here. Where the Meteor course last year, it was a great day in the bike. La Paloma was a bit muddy last year with all the rain we had, but it was so picturesque.
Very true. We actually got a truck stuck last year, so it's so funny. Like you have SAG people driving, and they go the same way all day, and then the last time through, the guy's like, "That looks a little muddy. I'm going to go to the left," and we had to get a fire truck to tow the truck out. So yeah, it was a little muddy last year, but it is. It's just I can't describe it to do justice how picturesque it really is.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years just was so historic in terms of rain that those were kind of like, I mean, us being California and getting so little rain, there were welcome outliers to have that little. It made the gravel season a little more sticky, but I think we do appreciate it when we happen to get a good amount of rainfall out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's also important because you guys need it for water just in general, but it would be nice if it's kind of spaced itself out to like every third Wednesday for the year instead of getting all of it in 2 weeks. But going back to your tire size question, I mean, this is such a loaded question in gravel now because, I mean, literally it's like, I want a 275 R15, but I've done this on my road bike, believe it or not, with 28s, and it was okay. I did not like La Paloma Road because there's some sections of chunk that, but you got to be really careful. I would say if you had a 42 or a 45, it wouldn't be the craziest thing you've ever done to run it. I think you could do 38s. You could probably even do 35s, but I think you'd be happier on something a little bit wider, especially for they're not huge sections of chunk, but when they're there, you know how that goes. When you hit it, you've got 2 miles of chunk and your tire isn't wide enough. That's where you're going to pay a big price. So I think a 42 or 45 is probably the best.
Yeah, I think that people are starting to catch up with the science, and it's just better to go bigger than smaller for these events. And just as long as people are able just to go to a standard tire pressure calculator, you'll be somewhere in the ballpark, which will put you in a happy place.
Yeah, for sure. I think I read a great article the other day that was talking about all the tires, and one of the big things they talked about with gravel was the tire width. Is you want to be at the point where when you look behind you, you don't leave it's okay to have a slight impression, but if you have a valley behind you, you probably need a wire tire or less pressure because you're sinking in and you're giving up watts, which I thought was a very great way for normal human beings like us to look at what tire. We don't get to walk to a trailer and go, I'm going to take that gravel bike today. Like the old days in mountain biking, it's you've got I'm riding this tire on Tuesday, I'm racing it on Saturday. So being able to look at what you're leaving behind helps you really find that right mix for you. We have Michelin as a great supporter. They've got some great tires out there with the Gravel Pros, and I think there'd be a great tire for this course. And I think 42 or 45 is probably your width.
And someone seems to always ask this, but the weather that time of the year, start of the ride, and where does it typically fall? And do you have drop bags along the way?
We don't have a drop bag right now. If a lot, it's something we would consider. But last year, we had them and nobody used them. So it's a challenge. I mean, it's kind of like, riding in LA. If you start riding at 8, you have to have on every article of clothing that you own. And by 11, you've taken it all off. And then if you're riding at 3 in the afternoon, you start putting it all back on again. So it's a bit of a challenge. I think knee warmer, arm warmer vest is probably the way to go. Just depending. But again, you need to look at the weather report and what the temperature is going to be. But I think last year we ran from 50 to 70, which is a very tricky window to start, because we're starting at 8 a.m. so that you're not riding through the worst part of the day, and we can get you out of town quickly without traffic. So it's going to be a little bit chillier at the start, but I think 50 to 70 is kind of the average. So if you ride fast, get done by 11, 50 to 60. If you want to take your time and you're getting done by 3, you're going to get the full gamut of all the temperature.
I'm getting used to it now. I think people who go to bike events know that they don't normally start around 11 o'clock. We don't get the later start times like George does.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think I think people, if you know, if this is their first event, I think it does, it's challenging, but definitely a good entry level to get people into the 60-mile course,
Oh, for
um,
sure.
with somewhat climbing, but not not stuff that you're going to really be super pained on if it's your or you should be able to finish hopefully on your first time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the things that we want to do. And I'm glad you brought that up, Zach, because to us, we like to think of ourselves as a festival with a cycling problem. So, like, to us, it's really about the whole experience. So, if you're a beginner or whatever, like, I think the vest, get yourself a vest, great clothing thing for you, will keep you warm. You don't need to dress. If you're too comfortable in the first 10 minutes, you're probably overdressed. But as you just go along, um, you're going to be able to finish this ride. It's not hyper challenging. It's going to be challenging in a fun way, not challenging like a Leadville or an Unbound, like epic, like it takes everything you've got to do to finish it. We really want you to finish it because that's what it's all about right there. As you look at that picture, the great food and delicious beverages waiting for you at the finish. Get that finisher's medal, get some F2C, and then follow it up with some different libations of another sort and get some of that quality food.
Yeah, I mean, I think that gravel's just got the best vibe of a lot of these events, and from what I heard, people who have done it before, did the event last year, that this seemed to have the right type of vibe, but have its own unique take on it as well.
Yes, and that's the thing we're going for. I mean, there's like right there's a picture of a helicopter, emergency response helicopter dedicated to the event. You don't see that as many at many gravel rides. That we take safety to the next level, and we take the fun vibe experience. Like, the ride is just part of it. The ride's awesome. It's important. The course is amazing, but so also is the expo and that reception you get when you come back into town, where you're accepted back after this great accomplishment that you had.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we have so many like great options, and I'm glad that this event is opening up a new area for people to enjoy. Because I know people are, we don't have as much gravel events here as people probably wish that we have. So definitely appreciate like expanding our horizons here and taking people more into the Central Valley.
Oh, absolutely. We love being there. We're grateful for, just a random call from Doug one day talking about riding. And he's like, well, let's come out here. And so here we are. So 4 years later, or 3 years, 3 events, and 4 years later, we're just so grateful to be a part of this valley, of the Central Valley, and, getting people exposed to the brand of Hincapie and looking at another side of George as he rides on gravel roads. He made a career riding cobbles. It's not that different. But it's really about getting people exposed to the sport, getting the community excited, and creating a different way to look at gravel that gets people excited. Now, we want to be people's gateway event to gravel. That's what the Fondos, that all that we do, the Fondos can have that. If you want to be competitive and fast, go for it. But if you want to ride and pull over and take a picture of a butterfly, we are totally cool with that. We get excited about people just being on a bike.
Yeah, and that's why I love it more when you have like the segments in there, so that people aren't going full gas the whole time. They can enjoy parts of it, and I think that that's like a nice balance, and it really, makes the event a little bit more, feel a little bit more like a community.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have rides like Bragg and Ragbri and all these things that have this huge community element, And on the, here you have a ride that's kind of got that sporting and racing element, but it's got the community as well. So you're able to do a little bit of both, and everybody's able to mix together. And it's really great for the people that are just getting exposed to it to see some of that side. You get a Tour de France experience that is, in one day. It's, and there's just come out and do the best you can, and we're as excited for the last finisher as we are the first, because we just want you to have a great time.
Well, Joe, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate you shedding so much light on this, and bringing more gravel here to California. And wow, we're less than a month away, aren't we?
Oh, don't remind me. I still got to get my helicopter ordered. No, just I actually do have to go make some maps with pictures of where the portalets go, because we just got all that stuff confirmed last week. No, it's definitely full planning time, staring at spreadsheets. Our tractor trailer rolls on March 7th. So if you're not registered by then, we got to ask yourselves, what you waiting for? I mean, this is a great opportunity to see a great town and really ride some roads you're never going to ride any other way. And I look forward to seeing you out there, Zach, and we'll have a great time. And I'll be the guy in the truck with the brooms on it.
Well, that's kind of like where I belong.
Hey, I can't tell you how long I've ridden behind people cheering them on, and they want to quit. I'm like, come on, man, just 2 more miles to the rest stop. Come on, you're still well within time. We do have a time cut for the Grand Loop. You'll just be forced to do the Medio, and that's at a 10-mile-an-hour average. So if you can't hold a 10-mile-an-hour average by rest stop 2, which I think is pretty reasonable, most people can. But what the main reason for that is if it's that difficult for you to that point, that lollipop loop is the most challenging part of the course. We really want you to get back to the festival with the energy to have fun. So from the safety perspective, we just put a time cut in at that rest stop number 2, where we'll send you left and you get to do the Medio, but you still got to do 99% of all the amazing gravel that's out there. You're still doing La Paloma Road. You're still rolling through Hornitos and, the famous Mexican Bandito hideout area, get to pass the Ghirardelli factory and do La Paloma. So really cool experience. So even if you do have the suggestion of the time cut, you're still going to have a great time.
Oh, wow. Well, like you said, March 7th is the cutoff date for people to sign up. So,
oh no, you can sign up all the way to the 15th. I'm just saying my truck's moving on the 7th, so I'll be sweating it out on the 7th, putting boxes with a forklift on the back of a tractor trailer. I want you guys registering so that I know I'm coming to meet you. So you can register all the way up to day of. You do get you can go to our website, hincapie.com, and you can click on the Fondo link, and it'll take you all the information you need to register, and you'll get all the great stuff. If you register now, some of the stuff's going to get mailed to you as opposed to being there day of, but you still get it. So that's still going to be a great experience.
Oh, wow. Who doesn't love stuff coming in mail, especially when it's cycling stuff?
Oh yeah. It's Christmas in July, June, April, May, or whenever Amazon delivers.
Yes. Well, Joe, I really appreciate taking the time and just being so detail oriented on this event, and I'm sure that will show on the day of.
I hope so. I look forward to seeing guys out there. I appreciate you sitting down with us, Zach. This is a great channel, and I hope people enjoy our little talk about Gran Fondo Hincapie Merced, or as I like to call it, Gravel Fondo Hincapie. It's our taste of a gravel ride. We like to make it a little bit different, and you just have to be there to understand why it's so unique.
Shouldn't be too much of a sell job for gravel cyclists.
Yeah. Hey, if the sun's shining, we're pedaling, so let's go get it done.
All right, so everyone, I'll add the link underneath. But Joe, thanks again for coming on, and yeah, nose to the grindstone, less than a month away.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right,
bye.
Take care.
See ya.